Let me bedazzle with all these herbs called basil. But I hope it's not a hassle if you see some in a frazzle, because that's just the way I travel when I grow my ton of basil. G'day, I'm Mark from Self-Sufficient Me, and in this video I'm going to give you my 5 top tips on how to grow a ton of basil in just one small or medium-sized raised bed container such as this. Let's get into it. Tip number 1, sow liberally. If I was a rapper, I'd give myself the nickname Sir Sow-a-Lot, because basil's got back when it comes to sowing seed, and this herb is no exception. The beauty of over-sowing, or I like to call it crowd growing, is you can use the excess young, sweet, tasty baby seedlings as you thin the crop out to make room for the other plants to expand. Basil likes warm growing conditions like this and won't grow well in the cold. But having said that, it will also struggle in the middle of a hot, humid subtropical summer. Therefore, in hot climates, I recommend sowing or planting out seedlings before summer begins, and then again towards the end of summer, growing it into the cooler, dry season. In temperate or cold climates, sow basil in spring and then grow it right through spring and into summer. Basil grows fast and germinates easily. That's why I personally wouldn't bother sowing in seed trays unless you need to protect emerging seedlings from grazing pests like possums or rodents. And then, of course, fill your boots. I like to sow our basil direct where they are to grow in raised beds scattered around our vegetable garden, as it helps to attract good bugs and repel many bad ones. If you're starting from scratch, one of these small round raised garden beds or a large high-sided container is one of the best ways to grow basil. Position it in full sun or ensure the plants get at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight per day for best results. Do water basil often, and especially do not let it suffer long dry spells. But also make sure the soil is free draining, as boggy ground will turn your plants yellow and they'll quickly die. You'll want reasonably fertile soil to begin with, because this is a crop that's grown for its foliage, so you want it to grow vigorously. Succession sow in another 2 to 4 weeks to extend the season, and if you can, grow the new crop in a different location so that the older plants don't shade the younger ones or spread any typical leaf diseases as basil gets to normal end of life. When sowing direct, you can cover plants if necessary to stop pests or smaller animals from grazing off seedlings. I use a mesh tray or cover initially if I see any problems, and then remove it once the plants get to around 8 inches high. Tip number 2, harvest regularly. Apart from thinning the baby basil plants out whole and using them, harvesting regularly by picking the leaves at regular intervals produces a bushier plant, bushier growth, and also more succulent and fragrant foliage. Better leaves and constant renewal of growth helps to ward off disease and can also slow down bolting to seed, whereby the plant starts seeding prematurely, making the leaves less tasty and not as plump. By harvesting and inspecting the plants often, you also get the opportunity to find and remove pests by hand, or even shake or disturb plants to scare away the little buggers such as grasshoppers, etc. Tip number 3, liquid feed. Check out this basil here, just popping up in amongst this native ginger, passion fruit vine, some gourds. It's beautifully seeded in here. And this isn't as leafy as it once was because it's starting to go to seed. But basil, because we harvest it continuously and we harvest the leaves or the foliage, this requires a lot of energy to keep rejuvenating itself. And it gets this energy from the sun, but also from the nutrients in the soil. If it's not getting enough food after the initial planting and growth spurt, it won't grow back as well as it could. A good nitrogen liquid feed about every 3 to 4 weeks gives your basil the boost it needs to keep growing well. Either use a commercial mix or make your own liquid fertilizer tea, and your basil plant will look better than your Italian nonna's herb garden. Just don't tell her that. Tip number 4, let it grow out. You know that time when your sibling stuck chewing gum in your hair and you had to let it grow out? I wish that had happened to me, but I've got no hair for it to stick in. Well, that's similar to growing basil. Sort of. Well, maybe not. But there will come a time when your basil plant will simply give up producing plump, fragrant leaves and go into seed-making mode. And no amount of pruning or deadheading flowers will prevent this. This is a good thing. So when it does happen, let it grow out. Basil flowers are powerful pollinator insect attractors, which help your garden overall and creates a great environment for good animals. Your backyard becomes a good bug habitat. Club Med for good bugs. If bugs had the equivalent of TripAdvisor, you should manipulate your backyard so that Bug Advisor would invite all the good bugs from around the area and rate your place highly. Bug Med. I like it. So let your basil go natural and grow out to seed, and when it dies back, you can harvest this seed to resow again. It couldn't be easier. Tip number 5, grow different types. When mentioning basil, most people think of the sweet basil. But there are many other types of basil that are also worthwhile growing. In fact, sweet basil is probably one of the least hardy of them all, and whilst it does make a great pesto, it's usually grown as an annual, peaks quickly and rarely lasts more than several weeks when it comes to good leaves worth picking. However, there are other varieties such as Thai basil that can be practically grown all year round in warmer climates, or even in cooler climates if it's taken indoors or grown in a hothouse over winter. Thai basil is a perennial, and I've not only had Thai basil live for several years, but I've also seen it productive all year round. Sure, growing a new Thai basil every 12 months is probably the best way rather than nursing them too long because they do get woody. But still, a year out of a basil plant is a pretty good stint. Lemon basil is also another strong grower and long-lasting variety with an excellent taste and smell. Really good for Mediterranean and Asian cooking. Aristotle basil is a Greek variety and one of the cutest things you'll ever see. Highly ornamental. Not only that, its compact nature makes it perfect for growing indoors, on windowsills or balcony gardens, and it tastes amazing in salads, sprinkled over food, or in drinks. The purple varieties can add a splash of colour to dips and foods, and also add an extra antioxidant hit for helping our body to fight carcinogens that can cause cancer or aging. And I need to eat a whole lot more of this myself since I reached the big 50 a few days ago. Ooh, the wrinkles. And that's it. Those were my 5 top tips on how to grow a ton of basil. Sow liberally, harvest regularly, liquid feed, let it grow out, and grow different types. Do all those things right and you'll grow a ton of basil just like I can. Do you have any extra basil tips? If you do, whack them down in the comments section below because I'd love to read them. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and also share the video around just like you'd share your most favourite, best basil pesto you've ever made. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to visit my website, selfsufficientme.com, and also my forum, selfsufficientculture.com, because there we also run some competitions. I don't often promote my forum in my videos, but I'd love to see more people go there because I interact there more often than a lot of other places, and plus it's my own website, and it'd be cool to start growing that a little bit more. We have a really good small group of forum members. They're excellent, and I'd just like to see more interaction with them because they're very knowledgeable, and more people make for more fun and more competitions. So thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now. Wow. Oh, this is beautiful. This lemon basil is excellent. And right beside it, it smells very similar and tastes a little similar too to this lemon verbena. Very similar type plants. Both lovely, both grow well.